Okay, in this video I am going to show how to actually set up files that we're printing here but need to be outsourced to be foiled. We used to do it where we would take the live art, regardless of whether it's copy or images on there, and actually build the forms from the live art. We should not be doing that anymore because you're risking the chance of something maybe dropping out or something moving. And if your QC isn't perfect, then we're going to print that and potentially send it out to get foiled and risk the chance of there being a massive redo. So what we want to do is we want to kind of protect ourselves, if you will, by using PDFs in our documents when we go to build the forms. So let's begin. So this file here was actually sent to us from the New York PAs. So as you can see, the pink border is what's being foiled. We here at Color Edge are going to be printing the image, and then we're going to be cutting out the drill holes and the perimeter. So when I open up this file, there's a couple of things that I see that might be an issue. First of all, what I see is on the foil layer, which is this here, this square is set up with a stroke. We never want to send a stroke to the vendor. We want to send them press-ready files. If they see a stroke, when they go to make the die, it's just going to cut a line. So this needs to actually be converted to more of a compound shape. So I already had done that. So I'm just going to paste it in. And this is what you want, not a stroke path. I'm going to put that on its own layer. And I'm going to move it over, place it right there. And then I'm going to turn off the one that was supplied to us by the New York PA staff, which again just has a stroke. I'm going to call this layer foil, and in my swatches I actually renamed it foil. It was a PMS color, I just called it foil. You can call it gold if it's gold, you can call it silver, or you can just simply call it foil, which I already did, as a spot color. Just like that. Okay, so the other thing I see is they have their perimeter as our cut contour, which we usually use from the CC library. I don't have the CC library loaded on this machine, but what they also have is the drill holes here as the same color. If you have the same spot color, even if you have two different layers, when it goes to cut, they're only going to see one layer. So what you need to do is you need to actually designate it a different spot color. And I have this blue color here that it's the type safety, but I'm going to rename it. And colorize the drill holes in that cyan color. Again, this way, when it goes to cutting here at Color Edge, they will actually see the drill holes on one layer and the perimeter on a different layer because they are indeed two different spot colors. All right, so this is basically all I need right now. I would save out my working file. I'm going to get rid of what I don't want. I don't need this. I don't need the measurements, and I don't need the type safety. Sorry. I just need my art layer, my foil layer, which again I redid as a compound path, and then I have my cut contour perimeter and my cut contour drill. The key when you save this out, as you're going to save it out first as a PDF, just like you would any normal file for output, and you're going to save it as a single. Again, the key to saving this is when you actually go to make your PDF, you need to enable Create Acrobat Layers from top level layers. Okay. While this is saving, I'm going to go over to InDesign and start creating a form based on the paperwork, which I already kind of started for the purposes not to prolong the video too much. So the actual paperwork is asking for a 26 by 10 sheet size, which this is. See here, 26 by 10. You have to draw an external perimeter, exterior perimeter cut contour to the size of the sheet, which again in this case is 26 by 10. And really important when you go to actually rip the file, this exterior perimeter needs to be enabled for cutting and enabled for printing. So yes, this external cut contour is going to print. That's okay. The reason for that is when they cut it, they want to make sure that the blade is cutting perfectly center on that exterior perimeter for the sheet size. So that prints. Then you make your dots, and I just randomly placed them, put it on its own layer, and now I'm going to bring in the art. This image here. I'll bring it into the crop. And I'm just going to place it randomly. Of course, if I was doing this for the real job, I would do it a lot cleaner. I'm just going to butt them up next to each other. The paperwork is actually saying to keep centered with a half-inch gutter between the two graphics. There's a 1/4 inch bleed on each one, so butting them up together will give us that half-inch. So now, here's where we start building our files. So again, we have our working file, we set up all the layers correctly, and then you set up the PDF with everything printing. So you print your foil, you print your dies, any dies, and you save your high-res PDF. Then you bring it into your InDesign layout for your sheet. The key is ultimately you're going to end up with 3 files. You're going to end up with your print file, that color edge is going to print. You're going to end up with your foil file that we're probably going to be sending to the vendor, that we are going to be sending to the vendor, not probably. And then you're going to have your cut file, okay? So the beauty about bringing it into InDesign is you don't have to worry about anything perhaps being moved around or something dropped out, because you made your high-res PDF, you QC'd it before you start building your form, and then you brought it into InDesign to actually make the form. So the way to actually isolate your print file from your foil and your cut is the following. You select one graphic. It only lets you do one graphic at a time. And then you go Object, and you go Object Layer Options. In here, you'll see all the layers that we saved out from the native application, in this case, which was Illustrator. That little dialog box where it said Create PDF with Layers, forget exactly what it says. That gives us the ability to see all of our layers here. I got rid of the other 2 layers, one that said type safety, the other one said measurements, because I know that I don't need those. I only want what I need to show up here. Just makes it easier. First of all, I'm going to save out just the art. So you have the ability to turn everything off. There we go. is a pretty slow machine here. Okay. Actually, I need to go back into that because it looks like I left that top layer on. I don't want that on. It's just really slow. Then you hit OK. Do it to this one as well. Turn that, and that off. Sorry about this. I didn't know that this machine was this slow. Okay, so as you can see, it turned off our foil and it turned off our drill holes and our actual perimeter cut on the graphic. Then you would save this out. You could save it out as this would be the job number 2901A, and then I would just call it art, or call it whatever you want to call it. I haven't standardized that, but you have to be the one that knows which files are which, so I'll just call that this art for the sake of this video. While it's doing that, you can go back in, and now we want to save out the foil file. You go in here, turn this guy off, turn on just the foil layer. Same thing here. Okay. Again, this way nothing's moving. This is a flat PDF, and all you're doing is turning things on and off as you need to. Export this guy. Call him foil. Save. Go back in, and I want to turn the foil off, and I just want my cut contours. Go back into this guy, turn him off, cut contours only, and this is my cut file. Okay, that is pretty much it as far as how you're going to actually bring the file into InDesign, set up your flat or your sheet or your form to the size indicated on the paperwork. Then you bring in your high-res PDF, make layers. You know, you have your internal dots, because we use those for cutting when it comes back to us. And then you do your exterior perimeter, and then ultimately you end up with 3 files, which you can see in Acrobat. Whenever we're saving, we have to send the foil file to the vendor called Aggressive. That he will not accept the PDF. So you need to bring that PDF of just the foil, rip that back into Illustrator, and save it out as an AI10 file. Yes, I said AI10. That's the only type of file that he will accept. Okay, so here we have our cut PDF, which we can use here, which we're going to use here when he actually finishes foiling and then sends us back the forms. Here we have our print file, which we're going to send either to Lambda or the Epson to be printed. This gets ripped to Caldera. And then here's the foil file. This is the file that actually, after you bring it into Illustrator and save it out as an AI10, this is the file that gets sent over to Aggressive. This way, you are guaranteed that your size stays exactly the same on each form and nothing has moved. Okay? Again, if we're working with live art and we're building our forms in Illustrator or InDesign, it's too risky. We've already seen that happen in the past where something dropped out and it was a substantial redo. So we don't want to do it that way. We want to do it this way. Again, this file goes to Caldera to print. What we do too for Aggressive is we do overlays. I need to order more material, clear material for the Epson. So you would print this guy out on just your regular Epson material, not clear, just the regular matte. You would print this guy out here on clear material, which is usually on Epson 5, and then you would print this guy out here on Epson 5 as well. And this would be your bottommost layer. This guy would go on top, and this guy would go on top of the foil. And what we do is we put those three together, and we send them so that the actual vendor has a visual of what it's supposed to look like. I think that about covers it. So moving forward, and I know, like I said, I did a daytime tutorial with the day shift, and I hadn't really done one with the night shift, but this is so everyone knows how to prep files for foiling moving forward. Okay, thank you.